In this podcast episode, Ben Shapiro delves into the current political landscape, focusing on the tight race between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump as the 2024 presidential election approaches. Shapiro discusses the implications of recent polling data, the strategies employed by Harris's campaign, and the broader context of economic policies, particularly those of the Federal Reserve. Shapiro begins by analyzing the latest polls from swing states, noting that the race remains extremely close. He highlights that every swing state is within the margin of error, indicating a deadlock between Harris and Trump. For instance, while a Quinnipiac poll shows Harris leading in Pennsylvania, other polls suggest a tie. Shapiro emphasizes that these close numbers reflect the uncertainty surrounding voter sentiment, particularly regarding Harris's appeal to independents. He points out conflicting data on her performance with this demographic, suggesting that her campaign is struggling to connect with voters. Shapiro critiques Harris's campaign tactics, arguing that her team is attempting to keep her out of the public eye to avoid scrutiny. He notes that while Trump and his allies have engaged in numerous interviews, Harris has participated in very few, which he interprets as a sign of weakness. He suggests that this strategy of hiding Harris is indicative of her potential ineffectiveness as a leader. He also discusses her recent speeches, where she has been criticized for her unclear statements and frequent changes in accent, which he views as inauthentic. A significant portion of the podcast is dedicated to the Federal Reserve's recent decision to cut interest rates, which Shapiro argues is a politically motivated move to bolster Harris's campaign. He explains that the Fed's decision to lower rates by 0.5 percentage point is intended to create a perception of economic stability, despite ongoing inflation concerns. Shapiro expresses skepticism about the Fed's rationale, suggesting that the cuts signal a lack of confidence in the economy's strength. He argues that this manipulation of monetary policy is designed to benefit the current administration, particularly as Harris's campaign seeks to gain momentum. Shapiro connects the Fed's actions to the broader economic landscape, discussing how the administration's policies have led to rising inflation and economic challenges for everyday Americans. He critiques the Biden administration's approach to economic management, arguing that it has failed to address the underlying issues affecting the economy. He posits that the Fed's interest rate cuts are a desperate attempt to create a favorable environment for Harris as she campaigns for the presidency. The podcast also touches on international issues, particularly the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Shapiro discusses Israel's recent military actions against Hamas, highlighting the precision of their operations and the political ramifications of these actions. He criticizes the Biden administration's response to Israel's military strategy, suggesting that their calls for restraint are misguided given the context of ongoing attacks from Hamas. Shapiro argues that the administration's lack of moral clarity in foreign policy reflects a broader failure to understand the complexities of international relations.